And that was a look at the commodity market. We begin with the commodity cocoa because haulers from various warehouses of the Ghana Cocoa Board have begun an indefinite strike to demand better service conditions and increments in salaries. According to the carriers who work under the Cocoa Marketing Company, there has been a freeze in pay rise for the past 5 years without any explanation from their managers. The nationwide strike will affect the transport of the commodity since the cocoa trucks cannot be loaded to the ports for export. Here are some of the workers.
Ghana for any cocoa colors, your bread, before a palm cho, and grow. Since I feeling warehouse in almost a year Christmas, New Year. To cocoa no mama. Still your mushi. Jafu a pay increment. 1 bag 31 pesos. Almost a year. Pay for almost a year. Pure water cry. Pay for pure water cry. It's a bright brenu. Mushe be being fat cocoa no maya. Ghana for cocoa no yes rebu. Mupa Mumfa will be our best cocoa no mla. Let the 5 pesos around. What kind of so cry at the same. So cry.
Earlier in the day at Tema, where the workers are stationed, one of the leaders, Godwin Okansi, shed more light on the plight of the carriers.
Actually, we've forwarded several concerns to them earlier the year 2021, and they've not done anything about it. What they always tell us is that we should go ahead and then consult with our directors. Yet our directors don't do the work. We are on the field. We are doing the work. We know how the work is. So we are telling you that if a sachet of pure water is 40 pesos now, and then you carry 1 bag of cocoa, which is working for, you understand? So we are telling them that the 62 pesos they are giving for us as lay and load, they should increase it to 1 cedi, 50 pesos down, 50 pesos up. And it's as simple as that. And 2, we don't go to clinic. We don't go to clinic. We are working under Cocoa Board. Pallets will fall on people's legs, and then they are being abandoned. You understand? So we are saying that, 1, they should increase our payment to 1 cedi as loading and loading. 2, we will have to go to clinic. 3, when Opuni was there, Opuni was giving us bus. That was conveying us from our homes to the warehouses. In Tema region here, we have about 7 warehouses. The bus conveys each and every carrier to the warehouses. Yet, 5 years now, nothing like that have happened.
Cocoa carriers, they're asking for better service conditions and an increment in salaries. Well, there is some good news for public sector workers, though, because they will this year receive a 7% salary increment. This is 3% more than what they received last year. Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafwewa, made the announcement at the 6th Quadrennial National Conference of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, in Kumasi. Nana Aljima has more in the following report.
Government last year increased salaries of public sector employees by 4%. Persons affected by the decision were unsatisfied. The Ghana National Association of Teachers was no exception. President of the association, Philippa Larson, shared sentiment at the NAT conference.
Poor and unattractive working and living conditions of information to the grassroots of the association, and weak monitoring and evaluation at all levels of the association.
The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations explains the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the economy influenced the decision. Nonetheless, Ignatius Bafwewa has announced a 7% increase in salaries for public sector workers. He will, however, not reveal when the increase will take effect.
We were able to safeguard the work of every public sector worker in Ghana, including teachers, for which members of NAT are included. So we want to express our appreciation to you. In return, Mr. President, we had to also negotiate with the leadership of organized labor in our request on the national kitty. That is how we ended at the 4%. But Mr. President, the beautiful thing is that we are moving on, and we had agreed that coming into this current year, the 4% will no longer exist, and that we are going to give workers a 7%, which is an increment of 4%.
Meanwhile, some teachers at the conference insist the increase is still not enough. For Joy News, Nanaya Jima, Kumasi.
Let's do some other stories now. The Ghana cedi ended last year with a depreciation of a little above 9% on the retail market and almost 4% on the interbank forex market. This performance has been described as mixed by analysts and currency traders because of the spread between the retail and interbank market. In 2020, the local currency registered about 3.9% decline in value to the American dollar on the retail market. Now, senior currency analyst at Databank Research, Courage Mate, says an effective fiscal policy from government is necessary to complement interventions from the Bank of Ghana to keep the local currency relatively stable going forward.
Our proposals are only good on paper. We need to see implementation, and on paper they look good. But then we need to see implementation to be sure. For instance, if you look at why inflation has been running high, it's as a result of supply side shocks or bottlenecks, especially what has been known as the global disruption to global supply chain. So what you want to see is that the budget will focus on those areas, because if you look at the components of inflation, there's been so much volatility in the food price index since the pandemic broke out. So you want to see government intervention in agriculture and value addition to agri-produce. Having said that, you also want to see a situation where, the land borders are still closed. Now, admittedly, it's only closed to persons and not goods. But we also need to understand that persons need to travel with goods, as well as travel for inspection. So as long as the land borders remain closed, this is also an upside risk to inflation. Now, the authorities have also said that they need to vaccinate at least 20 million Ghanaians before they can open. So then there's a risk to that side if vaccination remains low, as we are saying. So we also need to quicken the pace of vaccination, especially educating people in order to reduce the vaccine hesitancy that we have in the system.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has deferred the implementation of government's directive reversing the benchmark value discounts on some imported items for 2 days. This is to allow it clear a backlog of transactions that were carried out before the directive came into effect. The Association of Ghana Industries has welcomed the reversal, saying it would boost local industry, but the Ghana Union of Traders Association disagrees with that.
Let them produce it at a competitive price. Let them produce it so that we buy from them. There are companies that are producing at competitive prices, and we do not even travel outside to bring those goods. So they should emulate those companies. But they can't produce at exorbitantly high prices and expect us and force it and expect government to twist us, and then they will have their way. That is not how it is done. That is never how it is done. The factors that is militating against prices, high price of energy, high price of water, lack of modern technology of manufacturing input, that does not turn up productivity for them. They don't even know their problem. They don't know that this is what is fighting against them, and that they are not competitive. So nobody should be forced to buy something that is not competitive. We are in the democratic era. Much as we support government in its quest for industrialization, industrialization doesn't mean that you produce what is not quality, you produce what the price is not competitive and force it on the throat of your people. That's not how it is, not in everywhere.
Of January, one of the items you need to survive the period to your next pay certainly has to be a jar of Chito, the Ghanaian pepper sauce. Now, these are the times Ikuya Nixon would be glad she started This Is Chito. What started as a pastime after taking time off work has now become a full-time job. That's our Joy Business Van episode tonight. The Joy Business Van is brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and MTN, everywhere you go.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You've got to sanitize.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
This is Chito.
Yes.
All right. We're heading
Towards the kitchen. Yeah.
All right. Up to you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So.
This way.
Yes. So that's your apron.
Okay.
And your hairnet. All right. And let me put on mine as well.
I've got to get used to it.
I have my blend, so I time everything just to make sure that the taste and quality is the same all the time.
You've got pepper, you've got your shrimp, you've got your
fish powder. These are my spices, tomato puree, and then my cooking oil.
That looks simple.
Yes, very simple.
At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when people were doing all they could to hold on to their jobs, Ekuya Nixon, an internal auditor, decided to take a break and stay at home to take care of family. Guess you're wondering, what has it got to do with the pepper sauce Chito? Well, it was a pastime stuff. She used to make it for friends while she was working.
So when I came home during the COVID era, I came home and friends wanted Chito. And I said, well, now I'm not working, so you know the ingredients are expensive, so I will not be able to make it as frequently as I used to. And then one of them suggested that, then why don't you sell it to us? I said, no, I feel too bad to do that. She said, no, just do it.
Just do it. Those were the words that got Ekuya in business, turning a pastime into a commercial venture.
So my and I just called some few friends. I'm making Chito. Do you want some? I'm making Chito. So I made them. I told them to come for it. And then they asked me how much. I was stuck. I didn't know what to say. So they priced it for me. And then that is how it started.
Word started going around on Ekuya's social media platforms about what she was doing. Her client base started to increase based on recommendation, and then she decided she would brand it, "This is Chito." Okay. That's what I have.
Yes. So.
Well, Chito is pretty ordinary. Anybody can make them at home. So what makes "This is Chito" unique?
When you eat my Chito, you just taste every ingredient that is in there. And everything that you eat in there can be mentioned. You identify the ingredients you are eating, the spice you are eating, and then, if I can stretch it, even the kind of oil I used. So it's plain, there is nothing in there, there is nothing strange in there for you to eat or for you to come back and say that, well, you ate it and something like you had an allergy or anything. Unless probably the basic ingredients in Chito, you are allergic to them.
Well, not me. No allergies at all. Come the beginning of much more hard work. Ekuya shares her experience at the start.
It was quite difficult because I was used to being at work and being ordered around. And in this case, you have to get up. And the motivation is that people are calling you for orders. So now you have to do it. And I don't like to promise people and then fail them. So if I say Tuesday, that means I have to. So, and one thing I noticed about being by yourself is that whether you like it or not, you have to work. It's not like today, I don't feel like doing it or anything, because your money is going away and your credibility is going away too. So you have to meet expectation.
Hard work, consistency, key lessons for Ekuya for her startup, which is barely a year old. She's already started jotting down future plans.
I would love to go into authentic Ghanaian food. You know, the kind of smell, and when I was young, it used to taste this way, and I want us to go back to that. So that is what I'm thinking of doing. So now everything is on paper, and I'm trying to bring some friends on board as well.
Forgot to add, Ekuya is into spices too. Meantime, our Chito is done, and it is time to package. The journey has not been all rosy. Equia has had her ups and downs during this period. She has had to deal with fluctuating prices of foodstuff and poor storage at our markets. However, Equia is determined to make this Chito a world-class product.
Trust me, when I was in the corporate, I could sleep, but now I'm always thinking. And I'm always looking for feedback. I tell people that I don't want, I give it out and I'm always telling them like no, whenever they buy this, I send them messages and I tell them feedback is very important to me because that is what will make the business grow because we are growing it together. So feedback, so no matter how negative it is, I always take it so that I can make it.
Well, this is Chito. The Joy Business Van was brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and MTN everywhere you go. Well, before we go tonight, we want to acknowledge this man behind me who will forever be remembered for his character, dedication, professionalism, and tenacity at work. The late Elvis Kwashi, General Manager of Joy Brands of the Multimedia Group. Here's tribute from former Managing Director of Amal Bank, now Bank of Africa, Menson Tokonu, and Head of Joy Business, Odilia Ntiamwa.
With the testimonies that I heard this morning, there is only one thing I think Elvis left for you and I. That is character. A man's integrity is measured by the kind of character that you have. You know something, as Christians, we do a lot of prayer, but it is not prayer that is going to be our legacy. It is our character, both on earth and what we have done in the hereafter. And I think the greatest legacy he has left for me, and as I know him, and also with the testimonies that I had, is purely character. I mean, the Bible says that mark a man who has integrity. The end of that person is peace. You could see the picture. When I was looking at the picture, I could see the serenity of peace all around him. Multimedia Group has produced a great leader from the testimonies I heard. You know something? He has done his work. So all that I will say, that we should take the mantle from where he stopped. It's like a relay team. We should take it and do greater works. I spent a lot of time outside Ghana, and when I came to meet with him, I realized that my sister has given birth to a great man. Whenever I come in here and I see him, and the things that I hear about him, his background, especially his knowledge of God, I think that is the greatest thing. You heard the testimonies of his colleagues. He's been a leader, he's been a teacher, and I
sat directly under him as my direct boss. And I remember the last meeting we had, connecting to the fact that he humbly wanted to know exactly what some of his shortfalls are as a leader. He polishes it up so that we can all move together as a team. I also remember him especially for the business community, and how constantly he will call me and say that, Odilia, we need to make more revenue for the company. How he will say that it's about revenue, and everything we're doing. We need to work so hard to get the advertisers to work within the business so that we could support each other. I felt that that is a mark of a real leader, and how he constantly will pull all of us together and rally us around himself for a common goal. It's a big loss for the company, it's a big loss for the business community, and it's indeed a big loss for Ghana.
RIP, the real boss. And that's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching.